No, I'm kind of Ernest Goes to School is kind of really doing it for me right now.
Yeah, dude, this is bringing me back. I look back every now and then. I go, oh yeah, I remember that scene.
Yeah, Ernest Goes to Columbine.
These were the movies we would watch on a little TV in our room as just our parents threw like a fucking bowling pin at each other, and we're just disassociating, imagining Ernest as our dad.
What do you think ever happened to that bowling pin we had? Remember we had a bowling pin for some reason, because I think Jace at some point was encouraged to be a bowler. I don't know why that was encouraged of you.
I think it was literally because I was the oldest and they couldn't afford daycare, so they dropped me off at a bowling alley.
Is that true? They would drop us off there?
I think me.
No, but we both had bowling balls, and I remember I had a red one, you had a green one, and yours had the initials JWA, and mine was BAA on it.
I remember I was given bowling classes. I don't remember being interested in this, and I think I was dropped off there every day. I was dropped off there every day as like a safe environment for a kid, and there's just old women chain smoking indoors and stuff.
I remember this, yeah.
I was really into bowling.
That is interesting.
I think Jace was wearing bowling shirts and stuff, and we had our own bowling balls in our bag. We had bowling ball. We were like the Big Lebowski when we were 6.
It was really like our parents were trying to make sure we never got pussy.
And I think we got bored of that, and then Mom started putting us in art classes where we draw. I drew a frog.
I asked to go to art class because I was really interested in art at a young age. I was drawing a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and then. After that, we got in golf just so we could spend time with our dad.
Yeah. Which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. So really 3 things in a row of making sure we get no pussy.
Right.
Bowling, art, and then golf.
Oh, and then I was obsessed with fishing for maybe 10 years. And then I transferred that onto... I would fish on the golf course with my dad. So I'd go with my dad and just like fish. And I'd catch like a huge bass and just like run. I'd be like... just like run up the 18th fairway and then just show my dad a huge fish. And he'd turn around and he'd be like... That's nice, son. Throw it back in the lake. And then just like go over his putt. I probably look like such a freak running around with just a huge fish. People probably thought I had Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm running through a parking lot trying to show my dad a fish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, And then
but I was like 12. I'm too old to be no, when you're 12, you can't be running around with a fish.
You can't do that?
Then you're a freak.
Right.
Then it's like, look at that freak go.
Right.
I'm sure a bunch of people saw me and they go, I'm totally going to abduct that child. I'm going to abduct that child given the right moment.
Right. They probably thought you caught it with your hands. You're just some creek boy who lives in the creek.
I had that weird period where I would just fish for like 7 hours while Dad was playing golf, and like I'd have to like move locations because geese would try to like fuck me up and kill me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just running from giant birds.
I think they were giving us stuff to do so they didn't have to hire a babysitter.
Yeah,
sure I think that was like it was sort of like the equivalent of Cousin Eddie pouring out a box of snakes,
right?
Telling the kids to round them up.
The bowling alley thing makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like a daycare. Like I don't know, the employees will.
Yeah, they're like, hey, go hang out with World War II vets who are dying.
Go hang out with those kids in trench coats.
You know what my favorite thing to do as a kid was? My favorite thing to do was in Big Spring, I would go out because we lived by that state park, and I would just leave without telling anybody, and I would get lost in the woods for like 3 hours and try to find my way back. And that was like a good time to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you were daring to get raped, honestly.
Yeah, it was like a little baby like Bear Grylls.
Mm-hmm. Drinking your own piss.
Yeah. I think I was trying to get abducted now that I think about it. And I may have.
Who knows?
It might have turned out better for you if you were. Who knows?
You think so? Maybe that's my shining is just producing podcasts.
Mm-hmm. You could have been like that kid that was abducted who he was abducted by that gay couple because they couldn't have a kid. This actually is a very famous case. It was like outside of Yosemite, this town outside of Yosemite. Mm-hmm. And this kid was abducted by this gay couple that just couldn't have a kid, and they took him. And the kid intertwined pretty well with them, and he was just like, I don't know, you guys are cool. And just
hung out.
Liked being raised by the gay couple. Then he came back into town, he was found, and it was like fine, but he kind of was like indifferent. He was like, I don't know, they were cool. They treated me right.
You mean like when wolves raise a baby that it finds?
Right.
Yeah.
His parents are pissed because he's like into Will and Grace and like the opera now.
Right.
They're like, they made him too classy.
Well, what was crazy about this case is that it was super famous when he came back into town. It was a national news story. They made a movie about it, or they made a miniseries about it on TV, and all these like famous actors were in it.
Steve Zahn's in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was like the 80s or something.
Oh, okay.
But he was very famous, and then the real life kid ended up when he was like 24 dying in a motorcycle accident.
Really?
I have heard of this.
And then flash forward about 15, 20 years. There's all these women that keep going missing in Yosemite. These women were slaughtered, killed, like 4 or 5 of them. And the kid who was originally kidnapped, who died on the motorcycle, his brother was working at the hotel in town as like a fucking janitor or whatever. And it turned out to be him, and he was the serial killer because he wanted to be famous because he was pissed off about his brother getting all the fame for getting kidnapped.
Because his brother became like a famous figure.
Yep.
They made like a huge TV movie about him. I think like Jason Bateman played him when he was like a teenager or something.
Might have, something like that.
Yeah, you just like, I just remembered this.
Yeah. And just imagine being that mom.
Yeah, they're like, why couldn't you be more like your brother who got abducted by gays and then died in a motorcycle accident?
Yeah, he's the golden child.
Well, the funniest part is in the doc, they cut to the initial pictures of when the kid came back into town, and it was a huge news story, and the brother's in the back like, God damn it. There's all these pictures of the brothers like
a cartoon case.
Cartoon villain. And he's like, in 20 years, I'll kill 5 women and get fame, too.